What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the debut album by American rapper and record producer Big K.R.I.T. Basically, this particular product is called Live from the Underground, and it came out in the late spring of 2012. Now, this particular product came out in the late spring of 2012. So within pitches about it here, as far as these pitching album, within the aspect, this is a critically acclaimed type album, pitch like that. Within the phrase about it, this is back when, within the particular early 2010s, pitch like that, this is a hit type feels. Apart from Kendrick and maybe Meek Mill's mixtape Dream Chasers 2, it was kind of the pitch that within the critical acclaim type fare, some of these type aspects, when you think of like particular folks like Pitchfork and Sputnik Music and some of these type fares, All Music, some of these type fares, and Rolling Stone, pitch like that, it's kind of variety. This was an above average within the fray of what was coming out around this time, particularly around this fray. Basically, like for example, particularly the pitch of like Walk a Flock of Flames, Triple F Life came out the same day as this particular album, or at least, yeah, it was either the week after, the same day, pitch like that. But some hit type appeals, that particular product was just not as heralded, pitch like that. But the appeal about the appeal about Big K.R.I.T. within these type pitches, the aspect as far as saying it has the hit type banner type aspect of getting, he had, like for folks who don't as full bound know who this folk is, particular pitch like that, he has an uncanny kind of similarity to Pimp C from UGK as far as especially I'm pretty much, usually most songs, at least the ones that I've heard from him from like the early 2010s, has a pretty impeccable type aspect for like the tone as far as like the pitch of talking about within Pimp C type similarities, pitch like that. It's kind of the variety of getting some of those type fares seen as UGK ended in the late 2000s when Pimp C passed. So it's kind of the fair, some of those type aspects, basically getting some lack writing type music, low rider type music, pitch like that, plenty of hotbox type songs, some of these type pitches. Basically like the fray, this is like the same sort of aspect if you would have gotten a Ridin' Dirty or one of those type ones, or Dirty Money, some of those UGK 96 and 2001 type albums in like 2012 the early 2010s type fair. That's kind of the pitch of this particular type variety. Bun B is actually on here at least one time, so it's a pitch as far as saying classic type appeal with some of these type aspects. It's just banner type pitch, but the aspect this has some good timing amongst it, kind of with the fair. This was kind of amidst like the blog era of hip hop and pitch like that, kind of the spread of like Dat Piff centralizing pitch like that. Particular folks like Meek Mill and like Meek Mill and Big Sean, since the folks leftover Odd Future type vibes, pitch like that, since that folks kind of the aspect of some of the ones is folks like Casey Veggies and Earl Sweatshirt and folks like that started to stretch out. It's kind of pitches for us saying it's just a particular type phrase, some of the pitches like this kind of has the aspect like Big K.R.I.T. is lyrical enough with some of the pitches, it's probably a little bit more lyrical than the actual Pimp C as far as those specific albums. The pitch as far as saying just the product, it's kind of has some food for thought type fares on here. It's actually not packed to the gills with like club gems on here, pitch like that. It has some strip club type varieties. It definitely goes out clubbing and pitch like that, but it's just kind of the fair that the way some of these type ones, like for example Money on the Floor is a strip club type song, but it's not really amidst like the full bound pop that ass pitch like that as far as like the fair, like the bounding disc type relentless type fury pitch like that. It's kind of the fair disc like strip club type noise. That this is more probably just dining on like some buffalo wings and fairs like that, getting like a cold beer or two in your system since the pitch is just simping with like gals there since the pitches. So it's the variety as far as saying just to collect some of these type phrase places where you're going to have these cool cat type vibes. Also would give type aspects like the tone of like basically like getting like the aspect of like AT-Aliens from 1996, that particular hit album by Outkast. Definitely has some early night or definitely has some mid-90s kind of Outkast type flair about it within certain type pitches, thinking of Southern Playalistic, and then AT-Aliens definitely within those two type tones, those particular type ones, the lack riding of Southern Playalistic and the strip club kind of pajama cat in the strip club kind of pajama cat type vibes, AT-Aliens as far as these pitch ounces within those accent type ordeals, just like with like a nice kind of syrup kind of neon type sheen. So take some of those type varieties, some of these hooks on here that Big K.R.I.T. does within these pitches as far as saying he's similar to Chameleonaire and particular Kurt Cobain's as far as those pitch albums. Some of those type folks that were out of Texas that were particularly doing that particular variety, just handling that particular fray amongst it. But the pitch as far as saying it's a good jostle of a get up. This album's going to get a 10 out of 10 pitch like that. This blistering type, and it's pretty good debut within these tones. Now within the pitch, just the aspect for us saying the product kind of it is just more of like a wholesome type one. This is kind of like getting your collard greens. This kind of when you think of soul food and pitch like that, it's a good example like what soul food would kind of be since the pitch is. You're going to get some junk food like the crispy chicken, the cornbread, and the macaroni and cheese pitches like that, but you also get some you also get some collard greens in there and like green beans, good nice garlic green beans, and then like some broccoli and fairs like that on top of some of those type pitches. Then extra kind of delights like mashed potatoes and fairs like that. So it's kind of pitched just a full bound type meal within sense to pitches. The aspects for saying the product kind of it has the particular flair, but really the ferocity energy is just not that full bound intact. It's something kind of know going in that the aspect in terms like a ring, this is not really a ringtone centric. Minus there is one particular gem on here, which is What You Mean, which is probably the most prolific song on here. It has to boot. It has Ludacris on here. It's a good nice snag within those type pitches when Ludacris was pretty quiet in like the early 2010s after Battle of the Sexes, but some good nice pitches getting that particular fray. But the turn up is just a lot more sedate and kind of within the pitch of just kind of more melded, kind of just post ups, just solid kind of in between type dap with your pals. It's just kind of more the pitch of this is a simp type album. So it's just a pitch for saying this the collective disc, nothing's with your pals, nothing's with the divas pitch like that. It's kind of the product you're getting towards the gab centric disc, this kind of gold teeth, kind of toothy grins pitch like that. Sounds affairs dismiss the product to dislike the aspect. This particular barbs and this the aspect of gab-centric pitch like that. Now, not say gab-centric in terms of being a downplay of, but this pitch on this affair. So it's just very similar within the fashion of Pimp C, but just kind of more the aspect of this, kind of more the layering kind of that goes in between some of this. So it's just more kind of structured within the pitch, not quite as like overlapping with the pitch the way Pimp C would kind of do it, where he would just kind of be like, you need to turn that bitch out and tell that bitch, don't let that bitch talk to you that way. So it's a pitch kind of fair as far as saying, but just the product, some of those type ones, it's the aspect kind of within it. It's kind of embellished like the goings on. So it's pitched like that. Recommend every song off this album with the exception of the Live from the Underground reprise as far as this pitch album, which is basically just an extended. It's just kind of like a repeat within the pitch, within the same type variety as Live from the Underground, but just the pitch. It just has more kind of gospel type vocals on there and just a little bit more of like collective, just a little bit more kind of esteem about a pitch like that. It's the only real type phrase. It's not a full blown mishap, but I just would question commonplace the frequency I'd listen to that one. It was pitches like that. Other than that, the sound gets a 10 out of 10. Being able to say within these pitches. So yeah, some of these type ones on here, 4 singles off this product. So this album, once again, is a pretty large deal. It's a breakout type album. Particularly big K.R.I.T had some pitches alike. Some mixtapes that came out in like the early 2010s as well. He had some Heraldo type ones. He had similar type come up to Kendrick Lamar just within pitches like that. He was kind of like a golden child for a while within those type pitches, at least in like the early 2010s. Some stuff. He was one of those type ones that usually when he would drop was kind of a big deal. At least this particular product, Live from the Underground, and then Catalactica from 2014. I remember both those kind of having some complex within reception. It was kind of fair. I realized that I don't. Things got a little bit quieter after about 2014, 2016 or so, but it's kind of pitch as far as saying just to progress some of these type ones. But yeah, this is a great debut. The pitch as far as saying. So there are some good guests on here. Basically, 8 Ball and MJG, good folks, and then 2 Chainz on the lead single, Money on the Floor. Devin the Dude's on here. Bun B's on here, not on this particular song, but they're on the album. Bun B's on the album. Devin the Dude's on the album. Melanie Fiona's on a song on here. Ludacris, like I said, is on What You Mean. Anthony Hamilton's on a song here. So good pitch like that. BB King, some of these folks, good pitches. And a folk named Big Sam. But I look after it. Say Money on the Floor is a hit type one. It's like a good strip club collect and syrup kind of embellished. Get towards here, just basic. Pop that for diva type fair pitch like that. Just get some wings in your system with them fairs. It's kind of 10 to gals pitch like that. It's kind of the fray. It's more about the variety of just the aspect of like the simp type product and more the pitch of just like the collective just and appreciating like the scenery pitch like that more so than like the fair like the consistent kind of dance fear and busted moves pitch like that. Now within the fray, kind of the aspect, this album kind of within pitch is more kind of vehicle centric, more within the full bound type sense. It has the aspect of plenty of type swisher sweets in your system, definitely within those type pitches, but within the product it's not as full bound within the designation within these fairs. It really kind of feels like even talking about like vintage kind of actual sipping syrup and some stuff pitches. It's kind of getting like that Texas kind of aspect within like the Dredge Factor, just without like the consistent. It's a little bit healthier an album compared to like certain type folks. Like Paul Wall was getting pretty shit faced around this time in 2010, 2013. Same thing with Slim Thug. This is just kind of the pitch. It just has more aspects within the tone of just appreciating some of these type of things outside of like the normal kind of outside of the normal type primaries that just the pitch of talking about within the fray of just like consistent kind of full bound kind of shit face up there. Now I would say within the pitch you're not going to be sober within this particular product, but it's kind of pitch as far as saying just focusing on some of the secondary or just other type things in the pitch that would just It feels like the Terab is kind of within a relative type sense within the range of being secondary on here for like the pitch. It just appreciating like the times of making sure the gal within the aspect that you're gonna get some ass tonight, so it's the pitch from the product, not just getting tore up and then going home alone. So it's a pitch that's kind of fair as far as saying pay attention like the fray, make sure your game is airtight. So it's a pitch the product, so it's a fair as the setting of it, your pals doing. Pals are right, so it's a pitch just the product just getting towards the money and pitch like that. So this has the fray of just paying attention that you're not slacking and pitch like that. So this kind of sounds like fair, but this pitch like that is good, nice one for like the embellish. But yeah, get some wings going, just some nothings for like the divas and strippers, pitch like that, hit type peels. I got this as a hitting type one. It's like a nice snazzy kind of 90s throwback kind of drift along to get UGK and like a Cali synth, I'd say here. So it has some of those synth type ones. Feels like Ghetto Bird by Ice Cube and some type pitch like that, but just in a more Southern Fried type sense. This Outcast 94 type vibe is definitely a good, nice pair to blaze some pitch like that. This is just the classic type fare of some of these type pitches, just real good, real great vehicle kind of companion pitch like that. So some of these type ones, this feels like it should be a mixtape type song. This feels like a buzz single pitch like that. It's kind of variety as far as saying. These are just some of these type ones that probably countless type folks back in like the early 2010s probably hotboxing the whip pitch like that. These are some of these type ones that just great vehicle companion, get torched with your pals, just wild out with some stories and mixtape dabs and stuff pitches like that. It's kind of variety talking about particular fares like Dream Chasers 2 and like particular Kendrick's J-Rock's Black Friday and Kendrick Lamar's Overly Dedicated and pitch like that. Sounds surprised, but good nice pitches. Rick Ross's Rich Forever, good pitch like that. Just the aspect definitely gets some torchage to go. Definitely get some torchage going. Pitch like that, kind of tough word to say, but pitch like that, sounds surprised. So pitch like that, sounds fair is a standard type freight, this vehicle type wild out pitch like that. Yeah, that's me as a hitting type 1, third single here within these type pitches. Yeah, that's me as a hitting type 1, third single here. Good pitch like that. It's like a good vintage kind of day drink and summer flourish to get towards here. Sense of pitches, just chiggers and bonfires pitch like that. Just swishes all around. Sense of pitch amongst us. So kind of variety. This one goes pretty hand in hand with I Got This pitch like that. Same sort of fire. Just having like a good 1-2 punch with like these hot box type songs, but also works like some festival type phrase, not so much full blown festival, but just outdoor kind of backyard type nest, just appreciating like the sunlight, kind of like Nelly Country Grammar and just UGK type vibes with just the pitch to like backyard, kind of get some wings going and ribs pitch like that. Sense of fair is just amongst it like luncheon type fare and like a more sunset lick type sense pitch like that. Appreciating like the weather sense of pitches, so just good aspects there. Good, nice turn-ups. So some of these type pitches, pretty good breakout type appeal. This got to the 4 singles, just good, nice. This is a pretty notable type album out of the 2010s when you think about these type pitches. It may not have made that much commonplace type noise within the more casual type appeal, but it was pretty within the aspect. And look about the chart appeals. Yeah, really particularly, yeah, that, or Money on the Floor charted at 101 on the R&B/hip-hop chart, so it didn't chart on the Billboard 100, but it's just some extra type prices. Just pitches. Big K.R.I.T was kind of more of like a mixtape rapper. He was kind of the folk that came up with some of that type fare, just a Pimp C version, like a Dat Piff type. It's kind of a Pimp C version, like a Dat Piff type rapper pitch like that. So some of those hit type feels, but good nice pitches within those phrases. What You Mean's the forcing on this. This is a real excellent standout on here. There definitely need to be more songs like this on here, but it's not a complaint. It's full bound within those pitches that there's not. But it's kind of pitch that's a real excellent standout. It's like a good prolific kind of vintage 2000s kind of Pimp C kind of bounce that hard as far as these pitches can happen. Yeah, definitely diva. It's a ferocious kind of get ma crunked out type tune pitch like that. Just some venue sleeves, I'd say here. Get some munchkins and like I said, diva system munchkins by meaning donut holes pitch like that. Just some trees kind of have within this aspect. This extracurricular type fares backpack full some pitch like that. Good nice pitch to just like the hollow type music in the pitch. This venue type bang. This good nice song to simp to pitch like that. So this classic type appeal. The appeal behind this song is definitely within the standout type aspect within it. This is a real good bang within these type pitches. It's big K.R.I.T being on like that pimpish kind of just sludge type factor, and then Ludacris with like his snappy kind of slapstick type conduct like he was back in 2004 and 2006. So this has some throwback Ludacris type vibes, and considering that he was kind of more quiet past like getting past like 2010 or so, it's kind of pitch. This like a secret type verse from him with some pitches. It feels like he should have dropped an album this year, but it's still pretty much like the next best thing getting towards some of this. Definitely a good pitch like that. This classic kind of 2010 classic kind of early 2010s club standout pitch like that, and this overall casual bang pitch like that. I'm surprised this song didn't chart. Good nice pitches, but good excellent variety. So within pitch bar saying Paying attention towards it here as far as these pitches can have the aspect. And also on top of this spray, big K.R.I.T is the producer as far as these pitches can have. So he produces this whole album, so it's good, nice pitches. Paying attention towards it, him being a pretty prolific producer, pitch like that. So hit type feel. So paying attention towards it here. There's some. So yeah, I recommend all the songs minus the Live from the Underground reprise with pitch like that. So basically, Cool to Be Southern's a hitting type one. It's like a vintage kind of 2000s kind of sports game and residential type romp around. I'd say pitch like that. Just go for like a snack run. Pick up like some Doritos, some Cool Ranch type ones, or just the purple type ones, pitch like that. Hit type fries, or plenty of these other type ones, pitch like that. Basically, the aspect of taking it back to Killer Mike out of 2005 and 2006 type vibes, Outcast out of like the particular days of like Idlewild and pitch like that. Songs like Morris Brown since the pitch, the kind of aspects as far as those fairs. It's good, excellent Texas twang as far as those pitch game, but within the variety, just left a ball game, or within the variety, like within the atmosphere of a ball game, pitch like this. Some of the fairs, just daft the pals, good pitch like that. Just kind of some stuff pitches, just post out, get some zigzags let. Nice varieties. My sub part 2, the Jackins, a hidden type. My sub part 2, the Jackins, a hitting type 1 as well. It's like a nice swamped out kind of club snarl get towards this glissy but sluggish, I'd say here. Just UGK and like the 2010s definitely kind of get towards this. Just the hot type 1. It's just a nice good club gem as far as these pitch game. I'm talking about my sub part 2 as far as these pitch games within the aspect goes along pretty damn well with what you mean and money on the floor pitch like this. So some of these sub gems kind of get towards with like the more prolific. But this is a good nice syrup type 1 to kind of zone out to. Some of the pitches kind of the aspect kind of it. Definitely great embellishing aesthetics as far as these pitches have good nice pitches. Live from the Underground, the title tracks hitting as well within these aspects, like a good golden and Malays kind of soaked UGK kind of glide, I'd say pitch like that. Just Popeyes Sun to definitely get towards, so definitely some of those type pitches. Just vehicle type, 5 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour pitch like that. Sounds surprised, just appreciating like the glide type factor, just burnt as hell pitch like that. Definitely have some smoke in your system, just kind of zoning pretty nice within the legality of a pitch like that. Just hella chunking up deuces all day within pitch like that. Just everything causing you to chunk up the deuces pitch like that. Just damn near the Blue Jays in the tree causing you to do it. Something to pitch just kind of aspects as far as saying just pick up a latte for a gal since the pitch is kind of aspect just pleasant kind of Walmart type run since the pitches maybe all you need is just like some dish soap or fairs like that. Get a few napkins since the pitch is the aspect of this simplistic kind of just basic hit, simple kind of drift and pitch like that. So hit type Fridays. Don't Let Me Down is a nice one within these aspects as well. It's like a great Southern pride, kind of keep you head up by Tupac, but just more within pitch, just with an aspect more UGK and flares like that type Fridays. Just doldrums type fair pitch like that. Just get some biscuits in your system. Good nice fairs, going to keep the spice bit going with some pick me up type fairs. Not to get too dumpy about it, but just good nice pitches. Just favor runs definitely for gal. On top of that, just keep the straightening of it going. Not to have like things happen like double trouble and pitch like that. Just good nice pair to coat gal within sense pitches to fray this appears like what you hating right now since the pitch the aspects for us these varieties gonna have them just kind of the station of a pitch like that, just kind of keeping the aspect of just staying ahead of the ball. Staying ahead of the ball pitch like that since type fairs just so it's not when it rains it pours pitch like that. So hit type aspects amongst it. Porch lights a banging type one within these aspects as well as like a rock solid. Porch lights like a rock solid kind of homestead, smokes and sweets definitely, and leftover tasks kind of get towards some of these type pitches. Just visit with the nearby friendlies and pitch like that. Just neighborhood folks, divas, girl next doors, and this girl next doors and neighborhood galleys pitch like that. Since the Fridays, just how's life, some of stuff fairs, how's the dailies pitch like that. Since the aspects, good nice pitch amongst it. Good excellent type freight to just kind of rope the good excellent freight to just rope the leftover task and be buzzed as hell during it as far as these pitch games. So it's kind of within freight. The fair about it within here, the aspect of it being more of a muscle type album within pitch like that has more kind of within the aspect like the aspect of just the glide alongs. This particular album has more within the aspect like the glide alongs and pitch like that as far as these pitch games within the aspect of the get dones and some. This particular album has more within the aspect like the glide alongs and pitch like that, more within the fair, just like pleasure cruising sense of pitches, but there is a little bit of like some of those type fairs. Not to say a little bit within the fair as far as saying just the product of this pretty much stationed within the pitch, but just the aspect of just keeping ahead, just staying within the aspect of on the ball and pitch like that hit type feels, but just aspects some of those type phrase, kind of like a UGK type flavor of like a song like Sherry Frazier and Sex and Candy by Morrison Play. A song like Sherry Frazier and Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground pitch like that. Some of those hit type feels just alt rock kind of dredge since the pitches. But porch light is definitely a good personal type 1, good pitch like that. Pull-ups, the hitting type 1 has big sand and pull-ups, the nice type 1 says big sand and bun B on there, good pitches. So this definitely feels like a 2010s UGK type song pitch like that. It's like an excellent kind of swagged out, kind of stunt and sass to get towards here. This vintage trunk rattle, I'd say, and hotbox definitely within these pitches. Just some UGK type touch base with pals kind of pitch for us. And some of those type 1s, just the aspect definitely within pitch like that. Playing this type for folks that remember like the UGK type days pitch like that. It's just some of those type 1s to just be like what to do since the pitch is up. Let's see what's up with it on the full bound pitch like that since the price of this. Tear through a couple Little Caesars pizzas in the whip pitch like that. Now within the fray, not damaging like the car seat with pizza sauce, but some of these fries is the pitch of this. Station kind of wild out. Station kind of wild out type fair and pitch like that. Just hella nostalgia and pitch like that sensitive type feels. But aspects for us in Splister type 1. Now within the fray, the particular bounce in the chorus is kind of similar to like the fray, like the ballisticness and what you mean. It's kind of pitch. It's more of like a kind of hotbox type song, more in the verses of the song, but definitely the chorus when that pops up, definitely has some pitch of just like some trunk rattle, kind of parking lot pimping typeness, good pitch like that. So hit type appeal. Feels just like Pimp C should show up on the song at any point. Just feels the UGK ripped out of 2006 or 2001. Hydroplane with Devin the Dude's hitting type 1s, like a good Texas fried kind of makeshift flip mode to get towards here. Paul Wall, Bun B, Kurt Cobain sense to folks, just everyday type fair pitch like that. This Popeyes type dredge kind of get towards. So just the aspect of some of those type varieties within pitch as far as talking about just that particular variety. Just left like Waffle House or some of these type pitches, some excellent type products getting like basic kind of target runs pitch like that. So it's just a variety, just basic kind of neighborhood comedy and pitch like that, but just more with the aspect like Texas flavors for us as pitch. I'm just like your good Texas toast as far as these pitch within these type pitches, like the product of this, some of those type fairs. So definitely get the Popeyes in your system fairs like this, kind of the dredge factor or this gulag type fashion within that particular soul food type dredge. This usual everyday type fashion within those aspects, definitely hit type appeal. If I Fall is a nice one as well. It's like a nice kempt and straightforward kind of presentable type day, I'd say, pitch like that. Just formal with gal sense of pitches. Maybe you have to meet like particular family members. You might have to meet like particular family. You might have to be cordial or meet with particular family members, pitch like that. And I'd say have to be cordial with the pitch of being cordial with family, pitch like that. Since the fair is this Whole Foods kind of day, pitch like that, and some din. And by din meaning dinner, pitch like that. Some of these type of frogs. Some of these type of products amongst it is kind of date afternoon, more with the pitch of this more local type bound, not so much with an aspect. Maybe it has like degrees of step out with some of those type of pitches if it's like a banquet or something, but kind of pitch as far as saying it's a good nice one to be kempt and steadfast for us as pitch camp. So this kind of a presentable kind of, not the full bound say church clothes, but the aspect of like that presentation with just a more kind of Gap sweater or Old Navy, Banana Republic type fair of a day pitch like this. This kind of variety, the way young Joe would kind of dress with like those bright kind of polos, those Easter colors pitch like that. So some of those hit type feels, but this is kind of that particular variety. It's not tame, it's just straightforward. It's a good pitch like that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a hitting type 1. It's like a nice southern kind of M&M syrup, kind of homestead brooding to get towards there. To smoke some, definitely say to some Dia re-ups pitch like that. So kind of fair, just like extracurricular typeness, kind of like a more southern fried type aspect, like a song like Way I Am and Cleaning Out My Closet. Some of those type pitches, not quite as dark and as harrowed as like Cleaning Out My Closet, but kind of pitch just some of those type ones that this is kind of fair some shit on your mind and pitch like that amongst this type phrase. Blase said a Wild's pitch like that, definitely get some smokage going. Re-up with Gal and haul it. Gal sends the pitches, figure out the product of what's kind of the necessary pitch like that. And not to say just being a whipping or errand boy, but just to pitch some of the stuff phrase. This kind of another further type 1 to keep on track of things within the pitch of just being ahead of the ball pitch like that, hit type varieties. Being candid and courting also within sense to pitch. So this kind of product of just being prompt and pitch like that sense that appeals good pitches. So this kind of coat things and be satin pitch like that. Praying Man's a hitting type 1. It's like a good usual kind of UGK and golden porch reflect to get and stretch as far as these pitch down. So the stretch type song within pitch, just some of those glaze type 1s. It's the aspect of commerce type fair within that usual dredge, similar to hydroplaning, similar to particular like Live from the Underground sense that one's the title track, but just pitch like that. Just a soul food type song, let's say here, crispy kind of chicken sense that fair. So not quite Definitely a great kind of porch type tune pitch like that, but also like a pretty good just wind down for the day type fare pitch like that. Definitely the Freya just picked up some KFC, soul food, crispy chicken, Church's chicken, some stuff fares pitch like that, some hit type aspects within it. Get towards the product to just like a job well done and pitch like that within the hit type feels the just the rope up and some stuff fares within the aspect as far as saying it's kind of a homestead type, shine type song pitch like that. Appreciate like some sunsets, some of these hit type fries definitely within pitches like that. Me and my old school remix, the hitting type one. This has a particular. This is not on the Wikipedia edition of the album. It doesn't list this one, but it has a pitch that says Lil Kiki and Slim Thug on there. Good, nice pitch. It's like a highlight kind of trunk rattle to get. Just some Texas sparkle. I definitely say very similar to songs like Still Tippin', some of the type ones, Paul Wall and Mike Jones type songs pitched like that. Some of his hit type fries, Chameleonaire definitely pitched like that. Just some Candy Paint type tunes kind of get towards. So these particular songs kind of got a lot quieter once you got past like the mid 2000s pitch like that. It was kind of fair that Texas hip hop was kind of booming in certain eras and patches as far as this basically happened. It was kind of it popped up with it popped up within some spells with like Bun B and Kurt Cobain, some stuff folks like the early 2010s pitch like that, but within some stuff as far as saying Big K.R.I.T had to deal with it as well. Big K.R.I.T had to do with it as well within these type pitches, but in terms of like a vintage kind of candy paint type stuff, in terms of like a vintage kind of candy paint type song pitch like that, it was a little bit sparse around these particular times within the full bound type pitch. So just some of those type ones, just the great floss out parking lot pimping type songs pitch like that, sensitive price within the aspects as far as talking about sitting sideways and particular like knocking doors down by Pimp C, sitting sideways by Paul Wall, knocking doors down by Pimp C, sensitive price pitch like this. Some of those type ones, just the vintage kind of highlight. Not a ferocious type one, but just some night shift type dredge pitch like that. Just appreciate like the starlight and some type pitch amongst us. A good X and price makes me question where the original type tune was, whether or not this is on like the iTunes edition, some type pitch. So I do question within the phrase how to full bound obtain this particular tune, but it might be available on iTunes. Not as full bound sure, but it is on the Spotify edition. So good pitches like that. That's the pitch behind this album as far as these first albums. So 10 out of 10 album here, pitch like that. Social score would get a 10 as well. Now within the pitch as far as saying the hit type appeal is definitely the aspect. This is one of those type ones that has the complex of within a more or less. This is a little bit more critically acclaimed than like the casual reception, but it's not a bad album within those type pitch. I think he has enough relative type popularity, but it's just not as widespread within like the appeal of having like that recognition. So for the most part, I'd probably say the complex behind like the casual type fare. I doubt how many full bound type folks are going to know about Big K.R.I.T within these type pitches compared to like when you think of songs like Mike Jones back then and like Slim Thug with like I Ain't Heard of That or like I Run, some of the pitches, it doesn't have like those main spread type ones within the casual complex, but it is the pitch that the critical acclaim, if you do your research about rap music pitch like that, it's probably within the fray you might have happened upon this album in certain fashion. So this pitch far saying top of that, minus like the ludicrous song What You Mean, pitches like that, and maybe Money on the Floor with 8 Ball and MJG and 2 Chainz kind of pitches. Some of these stuff ones in terms of casual type bounce, not as full bound ferocious. Like I said, the drug use, the aspect like the tear up on here kind of takes a second, kind of not so much a backseat, but it's kind of secondary to like the fray of just like the product of just the embellish and just the tone set of being stationed to where you don't go home with blue balls and particular pitches of just broke and like getting played or ripped off as far as these first games with the pitch. Not as if that's going to full bound type happen, but just the pitch, it is not going home empty handed pitch like this. This is the fray of paying attention, like the varieties, like the goings on, not to be kind of with an aspect of this being, not to say selfish, but just kind of like absorbed to the point where only the tear-up's the only thing about it is the pitch. It doesn't kind of display that in your face as far as saying, oh, you shouldn't be smoking. It's this kind of pitch as far as saying, pay attention like the theme of like what's going on, not to neglect like the fairs like the happening. So this is pitch for saying, pay attention to that, but it's just pitch like that since the fairs. So I would say 10 social, but it's keep in mind it's not a carnivorous type album, it's full bound. It's just a pitch for us saying still good aspects. So in terms of future, as far as saying Big K.R.I.T, he's dropped some other type products pitches like that. It's kind of within fair. I know he's dropped at least into the 2020s, but it's just the fair as far as saying I need to catch up with some of these type fairs as far as these pitch albums. This is actually the first Big K.R.I.T product I reviewed, but within pitches I have been collecting upon some of his music pitches like that. I am going to get to Cadillactica and some of these type ones within pitches like that. Some hit type aspects, definite classic here, definitely say kind of a approach as being a classic from like a different type of angle, but definitely a pretty blistering type one easily within these pitches.